It all started on a quiet Monday morning at Evergreen High, the kind of day when no one expects anything unusual. That's when Maya Jackson, the new girl, walked into the building. She wasn't loud, flashy, or trying to impress anyone. She was calm, confident, and carried herself with quiet strength. But in a school where cliques ruled the halls and popularity meant power, that kind of confidence didn't go unnoticed, especially by Brittany, the queen bee who saw Maya as a threat from the moment she walked in. What Brittany didn't know was that Maya came from a family that believed in dignity, justice, and not backing down when it mattered. And what happened after Brittany made the mistake of targeting her? It shook the school, stunned the bullies, and reminded everyone why you should never judge someone by how quiet they are, because sometimes the quietest people have the loudest stories. And in Maya's case, her story was about to make headlines. It was the first week of the school year at Evergreen High, and the air buzzed with the usual back-to-school energy, new backpacks, hallway reunions, and the anxious excitement of finding your place. But this year something, or rather someone, was different. Her name was Maya Jackson. She walked through the main doors with a steady pace and a calm expression, her head held high. Her natural curls bounced with each step, and she wore a clean, simple outfit that somehow made her stand out more than the trendy, overpriced fashion of the other girls. Her confidence wasn't loud, but it was real, unshaken, unbothered, and rooted in something deeper. Almost immediately people started whispering, "Who's she? Did you see her eyes? She looks serious. I heard she just moved here from out of state." Maya didn't look around nervously like most new students. She didn't rush to fit in or try to impress anyone. She just walked to the front office, collected her schedule, and made her way to first period as if she'd walked these halls for years. But in a school like Evergreen, where popularity came with an invisible crown and reputation meant everything, that kind of quiet confidence didn't go unnoticed or unchallenged, especially not by Brittany Hayes. Brittany wasn't just the most popular girl in school, she owned it. Captain of the cheerleading squad, president of the student council, and ruler of every hallway with a flip of her straight, platinum blonde hair. Her clique, known unofficially as the elite, walked in sync behind her, laughing too loudly and judging too quickly. And Brittany had a rule: no one outshines her. She first saw Maya during third period, walking into chemistry class. The teacher introduced Maya briefly, and she was assigned to the seat right behind Brittany. Brittany turned around slowly, her bright smile looking sweet but feeling sharp. "Hey there, I'm Brittany. If you need anything, just ask," she said with fake warmth. Maya looked her in the eye and smiled politely. "Thanks, I'll let you know." That was it. No nervous energy, no over-the-top gratitude, just calm confidence. Brittany's smile tightened. She didn't like it. By lunch, Brittany had already decided to put Maya in her place. She spotted her walking into the cafeteria, tray in hand, scanning for a seat. There were a few empty tables near the back, but Maya didn't rush to hide there. She walked over to a middle table and sat down alone, shoulders straight, gaze forward. That's when Brittany made her move. She strutted over, holding a red fruit punch drink in one hand, followed closely by her two sidekicks, Kayla and Jessica. The whole cafeteria seemed to sense something was about to happen. Conversation slowed, forks hovered mid-air. Oops! In one sudden motion, Brittany tripped forward and splashed the red juice all over Maya's white shirt. Gasps erupted across the cafeteria. A few students laughed nervously, others just stared, frozen in disbelief. Maya looked down at her shirt, then slowly back up at Brittany. Her expression didn't change. "It's just juice," she said quietly, her voice steady. She stood up and looked Brittany dead in the eye. "But your attitude is what really needs cleaning." The words hit harder than a slap. Brittany's smirk faltered. For a second she didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like that before, especially not a new girl. Maya turned and walked calmly out of the cafeteria, juice-stained shirt and all, leaving Brittany standing there, red cup still in hand, and her popularity armor cracked for the first time. Students started murmuring. A few even smiled. She just walked away. That was kind of bad. Did you see Brittany's face? For the first time in a long while, Brittany wasn't the center of attention. Maya was. In the girls' restroom, Maya stood in front of the mirror, dabbing at the stain with a paper towel. Another girl, Zoe, a quiet sophomore who usually kept to herself, walked in. She hesitated before speaking. "What you said back there, that was cool. Most people don't stand up to Brittany." Maya smiled at her reflection. "Sometimes silence makes them think you're weak, but sometimes silence is just waiting for the right moment to speak." Zoe nodded slowly. Well, if you ever want to sit with someone at lunch, I'm usually at the table by the windows. Maya turned and looked at her with sincere eyes. Thanks, I might just take you up on that. Back in the cafeteria, Brittany sat down with her friends, trying to laugh it off, but the mood had shifted. She could feel the eyes on her, not with admiration this time, but with curiosity and a little doubt. Her phone buzzed with a message from Kayla. That didn't go the way you planned. Brittany clenched her jaw. No, it didn't. And one thing was certain, this wasn't over. The incident in the cafeteria had sparked something no one expected: respect for Maya, and insecurity in Brittany. And in Brittany's world, insecurity was dangerous. Over the next few days, the bullying escalated. Not just petty comments or childish pranks, but calculated, targeted harassment. It started with whispers in the hallway. She thinks she's better than us. I heard she only got into this school because of some diversity program. She's fake, probably just here to stir up drama. Brittany and her friends Kayla and Jessica made sure the rumors spread fast. Lies traveled quicker than truth at Evergreen High, and Brittany knew exactly how to weaponize them. Then came the physical stuff. One morning before class, Maya walked into the room to find her books on the floor. Her desk had been kicked aside. As she calmly picked up her things, the girls behind her snickered. Another day, she opened her locker and a foul-smelling liquid poured out onto her clothes. A faint scent of rotten eggs filled the air. Students gagged and laughed. Someone coughed out, "Ooh, skunks." Still, Maya didn't react. She wiped her clothes with paper towels, changed into her gym shirt and returned to class as if nothing had happened. But the worst came 2 days later. During a free period, Maya went to the library, expecting peace. As she browsed the shelves, Brittany's voice came over her shoulder. "Hey Maya, someone found your necklace, the one you were looking for the other day." Maya turned, confused. "I wasn't. Come on. They asked me to tell you. Said it was in the back of the school, by the green." Maya narrowed her eyes. Part of her knew something wasn't right, but Brittany was pretending to be genuine, too genuine. And if there was a lost and found item, it wasn't impossible someone had mistaken it for hers. So she went. The back of the school was quiet. No students, no teachers, just a long stretch of concrete and the abandoned greenhouse, overgrown with ivy and forgotten dreams. Maya turned the corner and stopped. 3 girls stood there, Brittany, Kayla and Jessica, phones in hand, recording. Maya's eyes flicked between them. The cold grip of realization settled in. "There's no necklace, is there?" she said. Brittany grinned cruelly. "Nope, but thanks for showing up." Before Maya could turn away, Brittany stepped forward and shoved her heart. Maya stumbled backward, catching herself on the cracked brick wall behind the greenhouse. Kayla laughed. Jessica kept filming, and then Brittany said the words that changed everything. "Go back to where you came from." There was a sharp silence, the kind that cuts deeper than noise. Even Kayla flinched. The insult wasn't just mean, it was vile, loaded, racist. But Brittany didn't care. She was riding the high of power, thinking this video would embarrass Maya, humiliate her into silence. What she didn't know was who Maya really was. Maya looked at her, breathing steady, and this time, she didn't walk away. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life," she whispered. Her voice wasn't angry, it wasn't shaken, it was chilling, because it was calm, controlled, like she knew something they didn't. For the first time, Brittany hesitated. Maya stepped forward. She didn't push back, didn't scream or cry. She simply pulled out her phone, pressed a button and said recording stopped. Got every word. Brittany's smile vanished. "Wait, what?" Maya tilted her head. "You think you're the only one who knows how to record?" Kayla lowered her phone slightly. Jessica's eyes darted around, uncertain. Maya took a photo of the girls as they stood there, still holding their phones like weapons. Then she turned, walked away and left them speechless. Back inside the school, Maya stopped by the guidance counselor's office. She didn't say much, just showed the video, dropped the names and explained everything that had been happening. The counselor, Ms. Avery, looked horrified. "Why didn't you come to me earlier?" Maya's answer was simple. "Because I wanted them to show everyone who they really are. Now they have." Meanwhile, back behind the greenhouse, Brittany paced in circles, her heart pounding. She recorded it. Did she really record it? She muttered, more to herself than anyone else. Jessica spoke up, quietly. "Maybe we went too far." Brittany turned to her, eyes blazing. "Don't you dare switch sides now." But it was already too late. Later that evening, the video Maya recorded, with Brittany's words loud and clear, was shared with school administrators, and quietly sent to the district superintendent. But that wasn't all. Unbeknownst to Brittany, Maya's father had already been looped in. A man who didn't make threats or raise his voice, but who had the power and authority to take action in ways Brittany couldn't begin to imagine. Because Chief Raymond Jackson head of the Evergreen Police Department, was already making some calls. She wasn't just a quiet new girl anymore, she was the storm no one saw coming. The next morning, Evergreen High felt different. The halls were quieter, the whispers heavier, and the students unusually alert. Something was coming, and most of them knew exactly what it was. That something walked through the front doors at 8 a.m. sharp. Maya Jackson. But this time, she didn't wear just another plain hoodie. Today, she wore a black one, crisp and new, with one bold word printed in white block letters. Across the back, Chief's daughter. Students turned to stare as she walked calmly down the hall. Some exchanged looks, others reached for their phones, secretly taking photos. The message was clear, and it sent a ripple through the building. Word spread like wildfire. Wait, Chief's daughter, like the police chief. That can't be real. She set Brittany up. No, Brittany set her up, and she recorded it. By lunchtime, the video Maya had captured behind the greenhouse had exploded across student social media. It had been quietly leaked to a few classmates who had a knack for broadcasting drama. Within hours, it was everywhere. In the clip, Brittany's words rang out crystal clear. Go back to where you came from. The racial slur, the shove, the laughter from Kayla and Jessica, all caught, all exposed. No filters, no excuses. Even teachers had seen it. Some were stunned. Others were deeply disappointed, especially the ones who had ignored the signs of Maya's mistreatment. Parents began calling the school. Emails poured in. The principal, Dr. Linda Morgan, was pulled out of a staff meeting to handle the growing storm. And then just after, 2 black and white squad cars pulled into the front parking lot. Engines off. Doors opened. From the lead car stepped Chief Raymond Jackson, Maya's father. He was tall and broad-shouldered, wearing his full uniform with a badge that gleamed under the sun. His expression was calm, but there was a fire in his eyes that said he wasn't here for small talk. The entire front office fell silent as he walked through the doors. Even the receptionist stood up instinctively, unsure whether to salute or apologize. He didn't stop at the front desk. "Where's Dr. Morgan?" he asked, voice smooth but firm. Moments later, he was led to the principal's office, where Dr. Morgan, flustered and red-faced, stood to greet him. "Chief Jackson." He raised a hand, not aggressively, just enough to pause her. "My daughter didn't come here for trouble," he said, tone flat. "But it seems trouble found her." He laid a printed transcript of the video on her desk, followed by a USB drive. "This isn't just bullying, it's harassment, it's racially charged, it's targeted, and it happened under your watch." Dr. Morgan swallowed hard. "We're taking this very seriously, I assure you." "Good," he replied, "because I've already spoken with the school board, and if this gets buried, I won't just be a father, I'll be acting as an officer of the law." "Understood." The principal nodded, trying to regain control of the room. "Of course, we're conducting an investigation immediately." Chief Jackson didn't raise his voice once. He didn't need to. His presence alone commanded the room. As he left the office, he gave the staff one final glance. "Make it right, because next time, I'll bring lawyers instead of evidence." Meanwhile, in third period English, Brittany sat nervously at her desk, trying to pretend she didn't know what was going on. Her phone had been buzzing non-stop in her backpack, and several classmates were clearly avoiding eye contact. Then the knock came. "Brittany Hayes, Kayla Daniels, Jessica Morris, come with me," said a voice from the door, one of the assistant principal. The 3 girls looked at each other, pale and sweating. As they walked through the hall, the weight of the day finally settled on Brittany's shoulders. Her walk, once confident and proud, now felt slow and dragged out. Her face flushed, her lips trembled. Outside the front office, they saw the 2 police cruisers, and standing at the far end of the hallway, arms crossed and gaze unshaken, was Maya watching them. Brittany's eyes met hers for a moment. There was no smugness in Maya's expression, no revenge, just quiet truth. And somehow that stung worse. In the principal's office, Brittany was sat down first. "We've seen the video," Dr. Morgan said bluntly. "Would you like to explain what happened?" Brittany fumbled her words. It was a joke. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't know she was recording." "So you're not sorry you did it? You're sorry you got caught," Chief Jackson said, stepping forward. He leaned in slightly. "You think being recorded is the problem?" Brittany's voice cracked. "I didn't mean anything by it. I was just trying." "I don't know." "You don't know," Dr. Morgan repeated. "Well, let me tell you what I do know. What you said was racist. What you did was aggressive. And what you're facing now is serious." Brittany's parents were called. Her extracurriculars were suspended. Her academic file was flagged for review. And perhaps worst of all, the respect she once held in the school was gone. As for Maya, she didn't smile. She didn't boast. She simply went back to class. Her peers stared as she entered, some with admiration, some with guilt for not speaking up sooner. She sat down, pulled out her notebook, and continued as if nothing had happened. But everyone knew, everything had changed. Chief Jackson didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Inside the boardroom where a special emergency meeting had been called, a long table stretched between rows of anxious school officials, faculty members, and Brittany's increasingly nervous parents. The lights were dimmed slightly, as a projector screen flickered to life. Play. The video began. There was no dramatic music, no commentary, just raw footage, unfiltered, uncomfortable, undeniable. There was Maya standing calmly at the back of the school, then Brittany's shove, her cruel words, "Go back to where you came from." The silence in the room, after those words echoed, was deafening. Chief Jackson clicked the remote and paused the video, the image frozen on Brittany's smirking face. Then he turned to the room, eyes scanning each face. "You think this is just kids being kids?" he asked calmly, but with a weight in his voice that made every adult in the room sit up straighter. "This isn't a prank. This is harassment. This is hate speech. This," he gestured at the screen, "is assault." No one spoke, not even Dr. Morgan. Then he added, "If this had happened anywhere else in a mall, at a park, it would be a criminal matter. So why are we treating it like a schoolyard disagreement just because the location changes?" Brittany's parents, seated at the far end of the table, looked both embarrassed and shell-shocked. Her mother, a woman who had once donated thousands to the school's fundraising gala, had tears in her eyes, not because her daughter was being accused, but because for the first time she saw the truth of what her child had done. Brittany stared at the table, unable to lift her head. The school board deliberated for nearly 2 hours. Policies were reviewed, legal consequences were discussed, community image was considered. In the end, the decision was unanimous: suspension effective immediately, indefinite, pending further review. Her phone was confiscated as part of the ongoing investigation into the video's recording and distribution. She wasn't allowed on school grounds without written permission. Her role as student council president, revoked. Cheerleading captain, gone. Prom committee, removed. But the real punishment came after she left the building. By the next morning, the story had leaked, first through student group chats and Instagram posts, then on a local news blog titled "Evergreen High Bullying Video Goes Viral. Police Chief's Daughter Speaks Out." By noon, the video had been reposted by a popular citywide teen news outlet. It was no longer just school gossip, it was public. Headlines spread quickly: "Racist bullying incident caught on camera. Daughter of police chief targeted at elite high school." When silence breaks, the girl who fought hate with truth. Parents began pulling their support from school fundraisers. Alumni spoke out online. And Brittany's dream of applying to UCLA's pre-law program, crumbling. Universities take character seriously, and the internet doesn't forget. She tried to delete her social media, but the screenshots lived on. The video, saved to hundreds of phones, was beyond her reach. Her internship with a local city councilwoman, rescinded. Her part-time job at the community center, let go. At home, things were no better. Her parents barely spoke at dinner. Her mother asked quietly, "Where did we go wrong?" Her father, once proud of her charm and leadership, looked at her now like a stranger. Brittany didn't leave the house for 3 days. At school, the vibe shifted completely. Teachers treated Maya with new respect, not out of pity, but recognition. Students who had never spoken to her before offered smiles, high fives, and in some cases quiet apologies for not saying something sooner. Maya remained the same, still calm, still collected. But now she had presence. She didn't wear the chief's daughter hoodie anymore. She didn't need to. Her name meant something all on its own now, not because of her father's position, but because of her strength. She had stood in the face of cruelty and never backed down. In the school newspaper, a student editor published a tribute article titled "Grace Under Fire: Why Maya Jackson's Silence Was Louder Than Any Shout." It went viral locally, even catching the attention of a local radio show that invited Maya for an interview. She politely declined, not because she wasn't proud, but because, as she told her guidance counselor, "I didn't do this to be famous. I did this because people like Brittany get away with it too often." Her words were quiet, but they carried. That Friday, an assembly was held on campus. Morgan, flanked by faculty and student leaders, spoke publicly for the first time about what had happened. Without naming names, she acknowledged the incident, praised Maya's courage, and introduced a new school-wide anti-bullying and racial equity initiative. "We failed one of our students," she said,
but we won't fail again. Maya was invited to speak. She walked up to the microphone in front of hundreds of students and teachers. She said just one thing: if you think silence is weakness, you haven't been listening. Then she stepped down. Applause echoed through the gym. That day, Maya wasn't just a student. She was a symbol of justice, of courage, of the power one person can have when they choose not to be silent anymore. In Britain, she watched the live stream from home, silent, isolated, and perhaps for the first time in her life, ashamed. Weeks passed. The buzz of the video faded from headlines, but its impact lingered like a quiet echo in the halls of Evergreen High. Maya continued her routine, quiet, focused, composed, but something had shifted. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was respected. People greeted her by name now, smiled when she passed. Even teachers who had once dismissed her now asked for her input in class discussion. But for Brittany Hayes, everything had changed. She still came to school, but her presence was no longer bold or commanding. The loud group lunches, hallway photo ops, and constant attention had all vanished. Her clique had splintered. Kayla quietly transferred schools after pressure from her parents, and Jessica had simply stopped responding to her texts. Now Brittany walked the halls with her head low, earbuds in, trying to avoid the curious stares and murmurs that followed her like shadows. She sat alone at lunch. She sat alone in class. She sat alone in her guilt. No more cheerleading, no student council meetings, no prom committee. Her college counselor had explained gently but firmly that some of her top college choices had already reconsidered her application. That night, Brittany had gone home, sat on her bed, and cried into a pillow until the sun came up. She had built her identity on popularity and control, and now, she was no one's queen bee. She was just the girl in the video, and worse, she knew she deserved it. One Tuesday afternoon, Brittany stood outside Maya's locker after school, nervously clutching a folded piece of notebook paper. Her hands trembled as she slipped it through the air vent of the locker and walked away without looking back. Inside was a simple note, handwritten with shaky, imperfect lines. I was cruel. You didn't deserve it. I ruined everything for you, for me, for my friends, my future. I thought being mean made me powerful, but really it just made me empty. I'm sorry, truly. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know, I'm trying to change. Brittany. Maya found it later that evening. She read it once, then again. She didn't show anyone, didn't post it online. She just stood there in the quiet hallway, holding the note like it weighed more than it looked. She didn't cry. She didn't laugh. But she did something unexpected. She smiled, just a little, not out of satisfaction, not out of revenge, but because the words felt real, and sometimes honesty is a form of redemption. Later that week, Maya headed to the library after lunch to work on a project. As she walked through the rows of study tables, she noticed someone sitting alone at the back, head down, no makeup, hoodie pulled up. Brittany, no camera, no groupies, just a girl surrounded by textbooks, a half-eaten granola bar and silence. Maya walked past, her sneakers making soft sounds on the carpet. She reached the table near the back, then stopped. She turned around. Everyone deserves a second chance, she said softly. Brittany looked up, startled. Her eyes were red, as if she hadn't slept well in weeks. Maya didn't wait for a reply. She turned back and took a seat at a nearby table, opening her notebook like it was just another day. Brittany sat frozen for a few seconds, then slowly looked back down at her paper, but her hands weren't shaking anymore. And for the first time since the incident, her lips curled into the tiniest hint of a smile. In the days that followed, something strange began to happen. No, Brittany didn't magically return to her old status, but she did start trying. She apologized, quietly, to teachers, classmates, and even a few kids she had once ignored or mocked. Some accepted her words, others weren't ready, but she didn't blame them. She started volunteering with a local youth group, her mom suggested, helping with tutoring, packing food donations, listening instead of talking. She spoke at a school forum on bullying and race, where Maya also sat on the panel. They didn't talk much, but every now and then, their eyes met with mutual respect. No friendship was forced between them. There were no movie-style hugs, no instant reconciliation, but what formed between them was something even stronger: understanding. Maya didn't forget what Brittany had done, but she recognized something even deeper: that redemption isn't about erasing the past, it's about owning it and choosing to do better. One morning before class, Brittany saw that someone had scribbled a cruel message on Maya's locker in Sharpie. Without thinking, she pulled a tissue from her bag and began scrubbing it off. When Maya arrived moments later, she paused. They didn't speak, but Maya handed her a fresh paper towel. Together, they wiped the words away. In the crowd, Brittany clapped, genuinely. As Maya walked off the stage, their eyes met once more. No words were exchanged, but they both knew this wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of growth, of healing, and of a lesson neither of them would ever forget. Maya's story isn't just about standing up to a bully. It's about grace, courage, and knowing your worth. She could have fought back with anger, but instead she stood tall and let the truth speak for itself. In a world where hate can spread fast, Maya showed that strength and self-respect shine brighter than revenge. In Brittany, she learned the hard way that actions have consequences, but also that growth is possible if you're willing to change. Thanks for watching. If you found this story powerful or inspiring, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life inspired drama with important life lessons. What would you have done in Maya's shoes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read everyone. And remember, kindness isn't weak. Sometimes it's the most powerful response of all.